How's everyone doing, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping another video. Right, guys, I've been posting a lot about like the Pearson family and about like those three that have been charged with the murders and stuff of the 4 children. This video is, I'm going to go back to prisons a bit, guys, right? Because I've sort of neglected my roots and stuff, so I'm going to go back to the prison stuff. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to review 2017 in prison, right? The different scenarios that are played out, incidents, stories, just treatment, conditions, new rules, new things that have come in, blah, 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 right? So yeah, so obviously, right, 2017 for prisons was horrific for prisoners. The stories that were flooding out of prisons on a weekly, daily basis and stuff, littered and flooded the media and stuff like that, because there's so many bad things that are going on within prison and stuff, and the Ministry of Justice try to keep a lid on all the stories, stop getting out. That's why I do these vlogs, that's why I do the interviews with the media, right? Simply because I like to get the stories out, right, about what's going on within prisons and stuff, because like I say, too many prisoners in jail, suffering in silence and stuff. Prison does funny things to a man, or a woman, because obviously female prisoners and everything. But the reality is, guys, right, prison is, we all do the macho thing of, yeah, jail's easy and blah, blah, blah and everything, right? Yeah, we've got that macho mentality, haven't we? But I break that down because, yes, I've had some of my funniest times ever in jail, 1,000,000%. But at the same time, it brought me to my knees and stuff, where I was down and I was contemplating suicide and I was depressed and I thought I was never getting out of jail and stuff. When I was on the remand for witness intimidation and everything, I thought I was never getting out of jail, yeah, man. And my head was fucked, yeah. And you know what, right? We all do the macho thing of like prison's easy and blah, 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 because we're guys and we're macho and we've got to be all that, yeah. But the reality is as well, we all have them down moments, don't we, where we're missing our loved ones and stuff, or we're not getting visits, or you've had a row with your missus, or you can't, or your missus has stopped seeing you the kids, or your missus is shagging about. Different scenarios that play out and stuff, and it affects you mentally and psychologically and emotionally. You know what I mean? And like I say, prisons in 2017, you had there was another incident at Winson Green Prison. There was one in 2016 because Forest Bank was used as a dispersal unit, the prison I was in and stuff, because they landed at the jail I was in and everything. And then it kicks off again. It's just incident after incident, you know what I mean? Prisoners getting up on the roofs. On the back of the Winson Green riot, Winson Green's Birmingham prison, ran by G4S and stuff, right? It's now been named in the UK as the most violent prison in the system. Every prison's violent, every wing's violent. Good order is only kept because prisoners, they don't want to get any more time added to the sentence. That went out the window at Winson Green, though. They smashed the wing up, caused stupid amounts of damage. The tornado squads, they ran away until they all came together. And it was like, they all had the helmets on, the riot helmets and everything and stuff, and then more tornado squad turned up and they took over. They managed to maintain control of the prison and stuff, didn't they? But not before the prisoners had smashed it up and everything else that comes with it. So then we had the spice epidemic within prisons and stuff, right? Obviously, I got out in February last year, for those that don't know. You can now test for spice in prison on the MDT. It came in last year, the beginning of last year. I know because I was tested, and a couple of the lads, cleaners on my wing, tested positive for spice, which shows up as cannabinoids. The strain showed up and stuff. One of the lads smoked weed and spice. One of the lads just smoked spice, and the other lad would just do a bit of this and a bit of that, right? But cannabinoids showed up, and he lost his job as a result. Which was a shame because we had some top cleaners on the wing and stuff, right? So that was that. Spice epidemic's been a problem within prison. Prisoners fall into catatonic states and stuff where they're not in control of the body. They turn into like zombies and stuff like that, and it's led on to deaths and stuff. If you look at the case of Jordan Hyam was 20-year-old. He was in Forest Bank. He tried spice for the first time. His body had severe reaction to it. He died. He was brought back to life, and according to media reports and stuff, he's actually mentally handicapped now for the rest of his life because he took spice. Now, I don't know if he took it willingly, I don't know if he was pressured into it, I don't know if he took it as a coping mechanism, if he was bullied into it, I'm not sure. I won't it'd be wrong of me to try and to assume and stuff in that regard. But it goes on, guys, as we all know. Then you've got, like, there was loads of violent incidents within prisons and stuff, and prison officers stating that they didn't feel safe going to prison because prisons are understaffed and stuff. That then has a domino effect on for the lads, where the lads are spending 22, 23 hours behind the door, depending on what prison they're in and what regime you're running. I've spent 22, 23 hours a day locked up behind my door, and I've also had a lot of association when I've been in Forest Bank and everything. It goes on that way. So yeah, so it's just been I saw the Lord Farmer report came out and stuff, where they said like 39% prisoners that get 39% of prisoners that get a visit while in prison are 39% less likely to reoffend, right? I personally don't buy into that, but the Ministry of Justice and the Lord Farmer says this, right, in his report. Now, I did a lot of interviews on the back of the Lord Farmer report, mainly on, I did one Talk Radio, LBC Radio, and who else? Victoria, Derbyshire as well, about maintaining family ties whilst in prison are integral to rehabilitation, reform, and they can also be the difference between life and death. Because when you're in prison, visits, the things that boost your morale in prisons, right, are visits, if you get a canteen, because some people swap the canteen for drugs and stuff like that and everything. So when you get a visit, when your canteen come over, when your credit goes on your phone, when you get a visit, you know what I mean, or when you're getting shipped to a jail that you want to get shipped to, different things are the morale boosters when you're in prison. It's the small things that we appreciate in prison. But family ties and stuff whilst in prison, in my opinion personally, can be the difference between life and death. If you're down and depressed and contemplating suicide, and then you get a visit, it can snap you out of that place. It can take you, it gives you light at the end of the tunnel. There's something to look forward to when you get out of prison. Things like that. So yeah, so I did a lot of interviews on that. So you had the Lord Farmer report and stuff. There were some stories of the governor from HMP Liverpool, which is a 21st century prison, which is a load of rubbish, which is squalid conditions, mice infestation, cockroach infestation, broken sanitation, so broken toilets, no running water, freezing cold showers. Then I saw a picture, right? There was stories all over the media and stuff about this governor getting sacked, and there was a picture of a cockroach here. Now a cockroach, right, can survive a nuclear blast, right, but couldn't survive the conditions of 21st century HMP Liverpool, or Walton Jail, as we call it. Absolute craziness. Right, and I saw these pictures, guys, and this report was damning, right? And the governor had to go as a result, because that's all they do. The Ministry of Justice, it's them that run the prison, right? But they don't take responsibility, so they just sack the governor. The governor's hands are tied by the budget and stuff like that. So, but the prison is not fit for purpose. It's the inhumane conditions. Prisoners have a right to a warm cell. Clean bedding, right? A warm cell, 3 meals a day. That's the way it should be and stuff, right? Like I say, in prison, you're not treated the best anyways. Like, depending on what jail you're in and stuff like that, you can have a good time or you can have a rough time and stuff. It depends. But psychologically, prison does do funny things to you, right? Not everyone will admit it, because we're guys and we're macho and that's what we do, but it's nonsense. Then the smoking ban came into fruition. The Prison Officers Association actually lobbied, listen to this, guys, right? The Prison Officers Association, so the spokespeople and the union for the prison officers, they campaigned for the smoking ban, right? Then they want to bitch and moan when prisoners are kicking off, right? A smoking ban, right? The Ministry of Justice are clearly trying to wind prisoners up, because the smoking ban, smoking's been used as currency in prison forever and a day. It's currency. People use it as a stress relief. When you are stressed in jail, right, for those that smoke, they will smoke more, right? It goes on that way, right? Now, banning smoking, banning tobacco, not selling tobacco, right? What does that mean? Does that mean it vanishes and it twiddles off? No, it doesn't. All it means, guys, right, is that it goes underground. The prices go up 2, 3, 4, 5 times, yeah? Right? People end up in debt because tobacco debt, because in prison, if you borrow something, you've got to give double back. So if you borrow a Q or a quarter of tobacco, you've got to give ½ ounce back. If you borrow ½ ounce, you've got to give an ounce back, right? If you borrow an ounce, you've got to give 2 ounces back, double bubble, right? Leads to a lot of people getting fucking levered in jail if they don't pay up, right? So then what happens? Your debt gets doubled and doubled and doubled until the lad thinks you're taking a piss and he sends someone into your pad or he goes after you himself and stuff, right? So the smoking ban, all it really does, you'll see more assaults because, like I say, debt and stuff like that. So you see debt go up, you see beatings go up, you see prisoners getting into debt. You see prisoners having their canteens taken and stuff and bringing their loved one because they need some more burn, because they need to get some more canteen, so they can buy burn and drugs and stuff. If you ban something in prison, it doesn't disappear. All it means, it goes underground, the price goes up. I'm hearing like talk of like an ounce, yeah, an Oz, yeah, going for over 300-400 quid in jail. No, sorry, not 300, 400 quid, 100, 150, 200 quid, yeah, for an ogle, for an ounce. So that's a big problem, and that's going to cause serious problems, right? Lads are locked behind the door for longer periods of time. You're banning smoking, right? And it's like you're trying to prod a sleeping dog. Prisoners should be allowed to smoke. If you're a smoker, smoke. That's your right, given right. They stop smelling tobacco, and like I say, it causes problems and stuff. And then the black market in prison, spice, drugs, now tobacco, all goes up the market. All it does, it gets people very rich. By banning something in prison, it gets people very rich for bringing it in, or whoever's selling it on the wing, right? Debts go up, violence goes up because violent incidents on the back of it. Prisoners are more likely to kick off because they can't get a burn and stuff because it de-stresses them. It's also currency in jail as well. It boggles the brain. I think that's going to cause serious problems, that I really do. And then, like I say, if someone can't get, if there's a drought and there's no tobacco getting in and you've got a bit of spice, I know people that would smoke spice raw in jail, or they just bang it, get a plastic bottle, make a fucking prison bong, yeah, and just smoke that shit through a bong. Goes on that way, you know what I'm saying? Bad conditions, treatment of prisoners, suicides, record numbers of assaults and self-harm in jail in 2017. It's just, the system's broken, guys. The people that are, the prison system's as broken as the people that are entering the system. I genuinely do believe that. Like I say, I've been out of jail nearly, on next week it'll be 11 months since I've been out of jail. I'm carrying on doing what I'm doing. I'm still doing these university speeches, still doing the interviews with the media, but I couldn't give two shits about doing them interviews. I don't get paid for them and stuff. It just goes on that way. I'm trying to think what else did happen in 2017. Like, you had the report on Forest Bank. You had a damning report on Strangeways. Attacks. Oh, there was a guy called Liam Dean. Liam Dean, for those that don't know, he murdered a 2-day-old baby. 2-day-old baby, right? Chose not to go on the numbers. What happens to child murderers in prison that don't go on the numbers? They die. Right, that's what happened. He got killed in Armley jail. It goes on that way. Paedophiles, rapists, kiddie fiddlers, and child murderers are the most despised prisoners in the whole of the prison system. Like I say, just prisons are very violent, volatile places and stuff, and understaffing, mental health's a big problem. Suicides, self-harm attempts every 5 hours, suicide every 3 days in prison. Someone's living in a body bag every 3 days. You're seeing year-on-year record numbers of assaults and self-harm, attacks on officers, prisoner to prisoner, cell fires, 50 cell fires a week, prison escape. People absconding from like Cat D prisons, open prisons. We've got Thorncross up here, and then we've got Kirkham in Blackpool. People go missing for different reasons and stuff just before Christmas. Mobile phones, obviously a big business within prisons and stuff. That's not an emergence of something new. Mobile phones have been in prison for a long time. A lot of people in prison, though, I want to dispel the myth here. A lot of people in jail don't have mobile phones in prison to carry out criminal acts. A lot of them do. I get it. But at the same time, a lot of them just use the blower so they can speak to the missus, so they can speak to the loved ones, so they can speak to the kids and stuff, because the prison phone is so expensive. Like, example, I'll tell you straight, yeah. I worked 7 days a week at Forest Bank, yeah. How much did I get? A whopping £11.25 a week, right? Then they take £1 off me for my teller. So the prison phone, I didn't have a mobile side because I could have had one if I wanted one, dead easy, but I didn't want one because I didn't want to rack up any charges and stuff, right? Seen someone get 10 months for a mobile phone and stuff. Seen people get a few weeks for a mobile phone or a SIM card and stuff. It's not worth it. So the prison phone is expensive. So not everyone that uses mobile phones in prison does it to commit criminal acts, right? Or to run drug empires or get people shot from inside jail. They just want to speak to the missus. They want to speak to the kids. Things just go on that way and stuff like that. Funding for prison services below is below contempt, to be honest. The 3 meals a day, I'm hearing 89p, 90p, a pound, £1.10 for 3 meals a day. So if you can think about the quality of the meat that we get, half of us have probably ate last year's bloody Grand National winner. It goes on that way. Food's a problem, mental health, suicide, self-harm, drug debts, spice. Spice is a big problem in jail. Mobile phones, but again, they use them to speak to the family. Record numbers of assault, self-harm, squalid conditions within prison, broken sanitation. Just the prison system's fucked. It's end of story. Right, guys, I'm going to leave this video here and stuff. I've rambled on a bit, touched base with a few different things. I'm trying to think about all the things that have happened this year in prisons and stuff. There's far too many to mention. But, guys, I'm going to leave this video here. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you all soon. Happy New Year. Bye.